Good afternoon. Welcome back to Great Canadian Nerds. I've been told by a lot of friends, co-workers, pretty much anybody who knows me, that I am lost in the 80s. Now, I don't necessarily consider being lost in the 80s a bad thing. When you look at some of the television shows and cartoons and movies from the 80s and compare them to the crap that passes for proper television nowadays, it's no-brainer. I'd rather go back in time and live in the 80s all over again. Some of my personal favorites that I have here to talk about today. Who remembers this? Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. This show, I loved it. I loved the show. You had, aside from the two main characters here that you see on the front cover, what's to say about it? It's a show about mice and insects saving crimes where the police don't. It was stupid, it was clearly Disney, and in the 80s, it was great. I loved it. I still watch this nowadays, and I'll laugh. I will enjoy episodes of it, and then put it away for a month or two and be like, oh, that was enjoyable. I liked having a little bit of flashback down memory lane. You can't think 80s cartoons without thinking about the strangest cartoon to come out, and it came out for the sole purpose of selling toys. I am talking, of course, about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. The show purely existed to sell toys to kids, and it worked. It worked about as well as Transformers worked. But this, I remember having a lot of their toys as a kid. I had Castle Grayskull, I had Snake Mountain, I'm sure I had a lot of the other main characters, I just can't remember. I had a giant sand pile as a kid, so most of my toys ended up getting out there and probably have decomposed on my parents' lot by now. But this show was weird. Very, very, very weird. I've tried watching it in the past few years, and I can make it through an episode or two at a time and then be like, okay, I need to stop and my brain needs to normalize out. The show was good in the 80s, but unless you want to take a trip down nostalgia lane and just be like, oh, what the fuck was I thinking when I was a kid, I'd keep away from this one unless you really love to laugh at how much your mind didn't work as a kid. That being said, the last cartoon I have here to talk about, an absolute favorite of mine from childhood, and yeah, I watch it nowadays and I love it, but that's because, if anybody remembers this show had the best opening theme song of any cartoon that was out at the time. That theme song is awesome. It'll get stuck in your head the moment you hear it. And yeah, considering what this show was actually about, alien cats landing on Earth, fighting a giant mummy, and for any of you who don't think that this is talking about our Earth, they literally say Third Earth, as in third planet. If you make it all the way through the series, it actually does explain more, but I love this show, and I know it's stupid. You want a good example? The episode of Safari Joe where they can't get out of burlap sacks. They have claws, and they cannot get out of burlap sacks. I know cats nowadays that a burlap sack wouldn't faze them. We thought cartoons were fantastic in the 80s. And you go back and ask your parents were laughing at you while you were watching them. Now, moving on to movies. Got a couple of movies here to talk about that are also from the 80s. A lot of them are movies that I have watched the color off the VHS. Some of them are still on DVD because I haven't gone and found them on Blu-ray yet. to be able to... Haven't found them for the right price on Blu-ray yet. I don't want to pay the full $39 for something that's from the 80s. I'll wait until it comes down a little bit, because $39 for the quality of something shot in the 80s doesn't really seem worth it. So, here we go. We'll start off with a Star Wars clone, Willow. This movie's actually really good. I enjoy it. It's got the perfect story of the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell talked about that. I only know about him from taking a class in college. But this movie is... I enjoyed it. You got magic, you've got sorcery, you've got swordplay, and you've got a fantasy setting. And considering... When I say Star Wars clone, say hello to Wicket there, people. Yep. That is one of the main featured Ewoks, and he also moved on into Harry Potter as one of the teachers. It's not a bad movie. I recommend it to, if you like fantasy films, it's definitely a must-see. Now, let's see here. If you want to talk classic fantasy from the 80s, you really can't do anything worse than The Neverending Story. This movie was strange when I watched it as a kid. I had a bootlegged VHS copy of it from somewhere, and I actually remember being very upset when I lost that tape. I couldn't find it anymore. It was about 13 years later when I saw this, picked it up, sat down and watched it, and I thought I was strange in my youth for actually really liking this. The only thing that stuck around with my memories of this the entire time I lost the VHS was Falkor and the horse drowning in the Swamp of Sadness. That scene I will put almost on par with Mufasa dying in The Lion King for holy shit tearjerker moment of your youth. Now, you thought I said He-Man was a bad cartoon? Yeah. They went live action. And rather than having it take place in the magical fantasy land of Eternia, this takes place in New Jersey. This is a guilty pleasure, though. I like this movie. I love how cheesy it is. I love the fact that it tries to copy Star Wars, and yeah, if you watch it, I don't remember Skeletor ever having black-clad troopers. He had crazy characters as his guards, yes, but not black stormtroopers. Okay? Star Wars clone. The makeup that they pulled off on Skeletor, oh my god, this character looked amazing for the time frame. And they put some actual effort into the story. I'm very, very happy that they made it, very happy that I saw it, and I'm glad that I finally own it. Although I will never, ever be allowed to put this on when any of my friends are around, because they absolutely hate this. Alright, you heard me mention it last week. Labyrinth. This movie is awesome. You have a David Bowie musical, all set in this fantasy land where Jim Henson was pretty much allowed free reign with his puppets. And it works great. I enjoy the story, I enjoy the setting. I actually remember as a younger kid wanting to find the book Labyrinth that she keeps reading in the story. And then that's when I started to realize that things in movies might not actually exist and are only there for plot purposes. I was unfortunate. I really wanted to read that book. If you watch this, you're gonna get music stuck in your head, and it's pretty much a part of nerd culture that some of these songs, you go anywhere where there's nerds, and if you start singing part of Dance Magic, everybody's going to join in. Okay. Save the last one for... I'll save the worst one here for last, but I do love this movie, and I'm waiting to pick it up on Blu-ray, but this This is a lot of fun. Big Trouble in Little China. You have a truck driver, played by Kurt Russell, whose only goal is to get back his truck. And to do so, he has to fight his way through demons and sorcery and anything else that the crazy hells of China can throw at them. You have... This movie is hard. It's hard to explain. You watch it. It's not a slow movie by any chance. The plot keeps on going at a steady pace. You never get bored with this movie. There's always action. There's always something going on. It's really enjoyable. To me, this is a perfect popcorn movie. I will gladly sit down on a thunderstorm night and sit down and watch this, because you know what? Kurt Russell is Jack Burton. He gets some good laughs. So he gets some decent laughs in this time. Okay. I watched the VHS copy of this one movie. I watched till the color ran off the tape. Then I had to buy a new one. I watched the color off that tape. I bought the DVD. I watched that DVD so much that I swear my DVD player scratched the crap out of it. This is one of the Blu-rays I was forced to upgrade to because my DVD fell apart. May I introduce you to, quite possibly, the guiltiest thing I have in my Blu-ray collection from the 80's. The Goonies. I don't know what to say. Maybe it's because I'm a huge Dungeons and Dragons fan, and what these kids do is, ooh, let's find a treasure. Ooh, let's go and find it. Oh, let's go and experience all this other crazy stuff. Oh my god, how I wanted to be one of these kids growing up. And that didn't lead too well because I was constantly being referred to as Chunk. Yeah, that was a fun time growing up, but not nearly as bad as a friend of mine getting poison ivy so badly he ended up looking like Sloth. Spent an entire summer with members of his basic training camp looking at him and going, "Hey, you guys!" Yeah, he's probably going to hate me for putting that up on this video, but you know what? Didn't say your name. Deal with it. This movie is great. You have, there's actually some really high-end actors in here nowadays. Well, high-end, yeah. Okay, there's Corey Feldman in here. He's about middle of the road. Voice of Donatello from the Ninja Turtles movies. That was great. I liked when I found that out. And, of course, you can see him here. Right there. Main character, Mikey. You probably seen him in some recent blockbusters. Oh, I don't know, Lord of the Rings. This is Sam at a very young age. And of course, who can forget Short Round from Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. Well, that's it for being lost in the 80s. Next episode, I'll dive into something slightly more off-kilter. Next episode's an episode about anime. And yeah, there's some strange choices in here. Until then, take care. This is your great Canadian nerd saying, embrace your nerd. Nerd is a fantastic thing. Don't be ashamed of it.